Mhm. Hello, everyone. It's Charlton. So, yeah, I saw Romney. Goodness gracious, dude. I mean, I just don't get these people. I do get them actually. He wrote an op-ed in the Washington Post, just crucifying Trump, or criticizing him, really over the top. I'm going to tell you right now, before I read any of this. Well, I've read it, what it's all about. And it's very apparent to me that Romney's going to fall right in line. Washington is a corporate center. It's all about the money, man. Okay, and one of the biggest things that Washington controls in terms of dollars is defense spending, military spending. You know, and when you pull us out of places in the world, it's huge dollars that are basically just guaranteed profits for the defense industry. Okay, so when you relieve people like James Mattis and Kelly, and say you're going to pull out of Syria, it's all about defense money. Okay, it, when he announced that, all of Washington, especially on the Republican side, all of a sudden becomes geniuses. I mean, they get themselves all on TV, and then they show themselves to be like the valedictorians that they are, extremely well spoken, pretty smart dudes. But then they really show how smart they are, because they go out there and they just they talk and talk and talk, and defend the defense industry and the spending and the bomb factory that just keeps making bombs. Right? And I'm not like some anti-war dude. I'm like a Republican that you know, usually supports that kind of thing. Us being a military leader in the world and all that. But it's just all about the bomb making factory machine, the money. And this is no different. None. And Trump is just one of the very few people, even though people think he's so rude and he's crude and he's mean and he's nasty, he's one of the only people that's willing to stand up to this monster in Washington of just military spending. And these other people that you think are just so nice and moral and upstanding, even the military generals. And I admire their service, obviously, but they are very much a product of the defense industry, and they spend their whole careers being courted and just constantly pressured by the defense industry, for sure. And that's what this is all about. I mean, you read this stuff and it's just hilarious, man. And they put it out on a Sunday at 8 o'clock at night. This is when or not Sunday. Well, a holiday on 8 o'clock. Basically, to give it some airtime. Trump hasn't tweeted about it yet, and he really just rips into him. I mean, he's going to be sworn in on Thursday, Romney, as senator. I don't think he really thinks he's ever going to run for president again. I mean, he's had 2 tries, basically. And his father didn't make it either. I really thought his political ambitions as senator of Utah and the defense industry might have a huge presence in Utah. I didn't bother to look it up, and I wanted to. But it doesn't matter. Every state, they're all over the place, whether it's, and there's 1,000 different companies that represent various aspects of the defense industry, military spending, aerospace and defense, and on and on. And it's not just the huge ones like Boeing and Lockheed Martin and, Raytheon, I think is another one. There's many. So, but I really thought he was just paving the way for his kids' political futures, because as I understand, he has, I think, 5 sons, and they're kind of, nice looking like him, very accomplished. Romney is no joke. He's he's a very accomplished person. He's a really excellent business person too, in addition to being a very well-spoken politician. So, anyways. It just cracks me up, though. It really does. It's hilarious how And I don't even care that much about the wall. You know, I'm not like a huge wall person. I'm okay with it being built, and I support it being done, and I think it should be. I really do. I mean, basically, just ask yourself. I'll quit ranting in a second. Just ask yourself, you know, like, what do the corporations want? And you can pretty much guarantee. And I'm a business guy. I'm a free market. I'm all that. Believe me. But it doesn't matter. It's gotten so corrupt. But pretty much whatever the huge multinational corporations want, you want to do the opposite. And I'm telling you right now, the multinational corporations and huge defense corporations, they want us to stay permanently in the Middle East, stay permanently all over the world, and just keep that bomb factory making as many bombs as you can't. You know, you can't keep making bombs if you don't use them. All right, you know, and every time they're all dollars. Same thing though. You know, what do the corporations want? Do they want the wall, or they don't want the wall? They don't want the wall, believe me. And then that means it's probably a good thing to do the wall, because it's going to hurt profits. It's all about the profits, man. All right. So back to Romney's. So he wrote this at 8 o'clock on New Year's Day, so that hopefully it'll get, you know, it'll make its way through all the outlets and get reported on by all the different outlets before Trump can basically, you know, change the subject with his own media mind, because he's masterful at that, and he knows that. Romney knows that. Like, if this came out tomorrow morning, Trump could basically change the topic in 20 minutes with a huge news item. But this will get a 24 hours of breath and whatever. It's just silly. I mean, he goes on to say the most nasty things about Trump, and that how Trump is, you know, has just resorted to name calling. But his first paragraph here is just pure name calling of Trump. Just nasty stuff, dude. I mean, it's just hilarious, man. Do you know how many people have died in the Middle East as a result of that all began with the Iraq War? I mean, and they just have, okay? And it's not even including the American soldiers that have died, but it's in the millions, you know, in excess of 1 million, 1.5 million people dead. You know how many children are dead because of that? And yet they had no problem with that, zero problem with that, because it was very profitable. But at the wall, and like, you know, Barbara Bush writing op-eds about children crying, you know, wasn't writing any op-eds about children crying when, you know, children dying in the Middle East. You know, I mean, it's just terrible, because stopping people at the border is hurting profits, not because it's humane. It's just terrible. This is just the ongoing. It's not going to change, man. Trump was a nice pause to it. He is, but honestly, after him, we're toast. We're toast. You know, it really is. I thought we were toast before Trump, and it's nice. It's nice. It's refreshing, but I just don't see how we can turn the tide. You know, of the greed that and it's just like I was saying. They just cut them in. Whoever comes along to oppose the machine, they just cut them in, and they wear them down and just cut them in. Whatever. All right, so Mitt Romney, Republican from Utah, and the party's 2012 nominee for president, will be sworn in the U.S. Senate on Thursday. I'm not going to read this whole thing, just the first paragraph where he just really lays into them. Then the rest, he just goes on. And I'll prove to you that it's all about, you know, various you know, words of, you know, foreign relations, our military standing in the world. It's all about military spending, and it's obvious that he's going to be a huge voice for this, like just like a lobbyist, you know. I mean, to some extent, the Democrats are better than the Republicans. I mean, at least the Democrats kind of have, you know, they basically tell these huge corporations that, you know, you either support us with campaign money and stuff like that, or else we'll stop you from doing what you want. Okay, so at least they like kind of have, you know, they have sort of the kahunas to like sort of at least control the situation, and they're the ones who are like, you know, they're the ones making the decision. You know, they're the gatekeeper. The Republicans, they don't just like, they help the corporations. They go out there and like do the corporation's job for them. You know, and go out there and sell their whatever they want to, you know, whatever they want to present to the people. If that made sense, it didn't. Let me keep going. So Trump's presidency made a deep descent in December. The departures of Defense Secretary Jim Mattis and White House Chief of Staff John Kelly, the appointment of senior persons of lesser experience, the abandonment of allies who fight behind us, and the president's thoughtless claim that America has been a sucker in world affairs all defined his presidency down. It's not a very good sentence. The presidency's thoughtless claim that America has been a sucker in world affairs all defined his presidency down. He's just wrong about that. America has been a sucker. And Trump is totally right about that for the 1,000%. And every other president before him and every other politicians before him, they just let him do it to us. And you know why? Do you know why? Because they don't care. Because these huge corporations are doing great in those kinds of situations. A few select, the ones that are paying, basically lobbying in Washington. They don't care. People like Romney and all the other politicians, they don't care. Because they're doing great by it. It is well known that Donald Trump was not my choice for a Republican nomination. After he became the nominee, I hoped his campaign would refrain from resentment and name-calling, even though he just got through doing essentially that in a somewhat eloquent or whatever way. It's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It is not. He won the election. I hoped he would rise to the occasion. His early appointments of Rex Tillerson, Jeff Sessions, Nikki Haley, Gary Cohn, H.R. McMaster, Kelly, and Mattis were encouraging. Notice that Kelly, McMaster, Cohn, these are all so-called globalists and people that are just, totally, Wall Street insiders, Washington insiders, K Street. But on balance, his conduct over the past 2 years, particularly his actions this month, is evidence that the president has not risen to the mantle of his office. I'm going to wrap this up right here, but I'm just telling you, it's all about military spending and wars. So, the world is watching. The world. America has long been looked to for leadership. Our economic and military strength was part of that, of course. But our enduring commitment to principled conduct in foreign relations and to the rights of all people to freedom and equal justice was even more esteemed. And this is exactly what I'm talking about, man. It's things like you wrap it up in patriotism and freedom and words like that when it's just all about greed and money, military greed and money. It's terrible. This comes at a very unfortunate time. Several allies in Europe are experiencing political upheaval. Several former Soviet satellite states are rethinking their commitment to democracy. Some Asian nations, such as the Philippines, lean increasingly towards China, which advances to rival our economy and our military. The world needs American leadership to reassume our leadership in world politics. We must. Are you seeing this? Are you telling me I'm wrong? No way, dude. I was just stunned when he's already backed off a little bit on Syria, and he said he's going to go slowly, and he basically did that. He did that to get some of those Republicans who have been not necessarily opposing him, but who haven't been doing squat to help him, and he's basically forcing their hand, and he was saying, I'm going to pull out of Syria right now, no slowly, right away, and that got everyone, like all the Republicans, all of a sudden they all woke up, and so they'll support him, more basically, and he'll go a little slower. But it's just hilarious to me how they all become geniuses once you tell them you're going to stop the bomb machine, And I'm telling you, I'm a Republican, man. I'm like I was basically for the Iraq War, even though I now think it's a huge mistake. Huge mistake. One of the biggest mistakes in probably the last 50 years. Total waste. Nothing but that's all it ever did was make the defense industry super rich. That's it. That's the only good it did, and that's no good, you know, for you or me or anybody else. And that's the story there, man. It is. This video is a mess. I doubt I'll even upload it, but maybe I will. Well, thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Please, pretty please, with sugar on top. Give me a like down below. And I'll see you in the next video. Later, man.